Dr. Tola, how are you? Are you ready for us? We're going to bombard you with so many questions.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So good evening, everybody, and welcome to Refresh Series, the second one of our series. The first one we had was with Dr. Ade-Conde, where we spoke about COVID and adolescents and children, what to do, how to cope with COVID, and signs to look up for in children that have COVID, or may have COVID, or stress or anxiety in children because of the pandemic we are in right now. Sadly, children are forgotten or overlooked. I wouldn't say forgotten, overlooked, and think they're very resilient. But in their own little ways as well, they too go through stress. They too have their own anxiety, and we really need to address that as well and make sure that we recognize it and deal with it as well. Today we're going in a different dimensions. We're just going to talk about mostly about adults and their mental health and their well-being, how adults really are relating to this pandemic, especially now that we're all opening up gradually, as it were. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Tola. Dr. Tola is a consultant psychiatrist and one of our areas of specialty is acute mental health, bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, to mention just a few of them. She's a seasoned psychiatrist, and for our Nigerian crew, she has actually worked at Yaba Left, as we say, Yaba Posi. So she knows that. She knows what she's going to talk about today. And the fact that she's based in Canada at the moment means that she has the wealth of international wealth as well to share with us, having worked in Ireland, the UK, and now Canada. So imagine, so she's dealt with 3 continents, really. So, Dr. Tola, welcome and welcome to the Fresh Series. We're very glad you're here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, the aim of this is to help the aim of the Fresh Series, and each series has an aim, and this particular one is to help individuals understand how mental health is important to their overall well-being, how to pinpoint signs that you are stressed, stages of mental health that can be managed by yourself, and when to seek medical help. We all know mental health is just about, basically, I'm just going to give a brief introduction about mental health, but then I'm going to leave Dr. Tola to do what she does best. Mental health is how we think, feel, and behave in general, really. I think sometimes we can be anxious, sometimes we can block off certain things, and sometimes we can really go off completely when we've lost a few marbles. And then we need to see people like Dr. Tola. So Dr. Tola, I'm going to start off today by asking how important is mental health to our well-being?
Okay. Well, I would like to because most of us, most of us cheat when we say, "Oh, are you healthy?" And our mind goes to our physical health, like, oh, when you say you are well. But when we start with the WHO as a whole, it's not just the physical health. It encompasses our social well-being, emotional, mental, of course, our physical health. So if you're perfect, going on well, you're great physically, socially, but your mental health is not, not at par, you're really not healthy. So I also appreciated it from that point of view. It's very important, and it includes our emotional and social well-being. Set it up, the way we feel, the way we act. It also helps us to determine behind it with people.
Sorry, Dr. Tola, to cut in. We are actually losing. You're going in and out. So I'm not sure. Maybe you want to move closer to the phone, or
okay, just.
Dr. Tola is frozen now.
Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you. Sir David, can you hear us now?
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you, Dr. Tola.
Okay, so I'll just go on. So like I was,
someone said they couldn't hear us. And if you can hear us, please, can you give us a thumbs up, please?
okay.
For those that can hear us, please give us a thumbs up. It seems as if they can't hear us. Nobody's giving us a thumbs up.
Oh, have we lost the...
Okay, someone said I can hear.
Okay.
Okay, so can we continue then?
Yeah, so like I was saying, in defining our mental health.
Can I say you start from the top again, please?
Okay. So like I was just trying to find, you know, because your question was how important is our mental in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so people can hear. So how important is our mental health? So I'll go over it again. I was trying to explain that when we look at how important our mental health is, we should also look at how health is and what health really is. And I was trying to explain that the WHO, the World Health Organization definition for health, includes physical health, social, mental health, our emotional well-being. So if you're well, there's nothing wrong with you. You know, you're sound, you're fairly okay, but your mental health is suffering. Then overall, you're really not healthy. So it's like a total package, and that's why the mental health is very important, and that includes well-being, our emotional well-being, and how we relate. It affects how we relate, how we talk, how we feel, and how we make decisions, how we cope with stress in general. I mean, that's what really anytime emotionally fragile how we are. So our mental health is extremely important.
Okay, you did mention something about how we make decisions. So I'm just going to take you up on that. How does our mental well-being affect our decision making?
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, it depends on what, okay, because mental health, definitely, you know, we talk about mental health disorders, you know. If you want to go to the extreme, we're talking about depression, anxiety, and of course, disorders like, you know, psychosis, schizophrenia, where people are in touch with reality. So you have someone who's extremely, for example, and they make a decision about something very important, like a life career, you know, and they're worried. And when people are just a lot of uh, fear comes in, you know, that you're going to lose control of the situation, and then you want to make a decision, you know, that's going to cloud judgment because you're going to make that decision from the position of fear. And for people that maybe are at that time stressed, they are sad, they look so bleak, you know, they're not happy with what's them in the world, and then they want to make things. There's a lot of indecisiveness when people are 1 minute want to do this and no, the other minute I don't think I can do it, and it's back. So to make a decision, you need judgment. Your judgment needs to be optimal. That way you can weigh the pros. But when your mind is so shrunk, a lot of you know, anxiety, worry, depression, or even you're not even in touch with reality, you think everybody's against you, you're so paranoid and suspicious of people, then it's going to be difficult to make good judgments of decision of important decisions, no matter how.
Okay, do you have two devices on?
No.
Because
Is there an echo?
Yes, and it's choppy, so it's in and out.
No, it's just one device on.
So it's just one device on. I feel I hear the choppiness as well. Okay, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, so it's better now.
Okay.
Right, guys, it's better now. So I don't know, whatever you're doing, just stay there, don't move.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, so we're talking about the decision. I don't know if I hope you heard what I said about the fact that, you know, it needs to be sound, your mind needs to be clear. But, you know, mental health is in the area of our soul, our mind, our emotions. You know, that's where things get, you know, sour. So if you want to make a decision, have all of that uh, in a space whereby it's clear. It's not cleared with any form of entanglement, depression, or stress. You know, as much as possible.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we're talking about decision making right now, and let's talk about the vaccine with the pandemic and introduction of this vaccine and all the various vaccines for COVID and the various things we're hearing on the news now. How does this affect us as individuals? How would you say, say for example now, I haven't taken the vaccine because I didn't make up my mind which one to take, but then you will not think that, okay, I'm safe, I have the vaccine on one hand, I have that, and then you hear all the stories about blood clots and having a third dose when and having another one yearly, and you know, does this not affect our mental well-being? And how
Yeah,
do we cope with it to make a decision?
to make a decision. I think the whole thing about COVID-19 definitely the fact that there's so much uncertainty, there's so much I don't know, fear. I mean, people are dying, so it's not like we're just being paranoid. Like we have statistics, have numbers to show that it's quite a serious thing. It's a pandemic, not just an epidemic. So already, you know, that's already a compromised situation that we all find ourselves globally. And then, of course, it's taking weeks and months for us looking forward to having a vaccine. And we all think once the vaccine comes, you know, everything. In fact, some of us feel that the day people start getting vaccinated, then COVID starts disappearing, you know, like an inverse relationship or inverse proportion. But we are seeing that, okay, even with the vaccine, it's not my area of expertise. I'm not an infectious specialist or anything. I know that there are different vaccines, they have different how like the efficacies, different side effects. Some of them need storage, some of them don't need storage. So I'm sure, like a place like my motherland, sure that would be taken into consideration in terms of how to refrigerate it and make sure it's still potent. So we have so many things we're thinking about. But at the same time, I think that we just need to trust the scientific evidence as soon as comes forth. You understand? For many people, maybe like you're just trying to decide. It's worth maybe talking to your family doctor about it and say, listen, you know my medical history. What do you recommend? Which one do you think I should go for? Some of us have very little choices here. Like you're signed up for a vaccine and it's Pfizer, and you just you know, we really, some places we don't have a choice. We just trust that, okay, they've made a decision that they should distribute Pfizer here. But you have a decision, an option with the vaccine. I have a family doctor or general practitioner that you've been seeing. It might be worthwhile, you know, getting the advice because they know your history and all the things that he has gone on over the years. And then they can advise you on, okay, for this one, don't go for that one, you know. So it can definitely be a major source of stress because you think that, oh, this vaccine we all waited for has come, but then there are side effects, you know. But then I think we should also be mindful that the risk is minimal from what I understand. I don't have the statistics, but I think very, very minimal. Although, of course, it's still something to think about. But it's not like everybody that gets a particular vaccine, everybody gets blood clot. You know what I mean? So that's why it might be a good idea to talk to your family doctor first, get the advice, and make a decision.
Okay, I wanted to talk about that because that's the main thing. That's the hottest topic right now. Vaccine. Should I get vaccinated? Should I not get vaccinated? What are the stresses? What are the implications and whatnot? So glad you cleared that up for us. So we back to our mental well-being. How do you know you're stressed, and what are the signs to look out for?
Okay. So when we talk about stress, to be honest, stress can be a positive thing. It's not
Okay.
always negative. I always use the example of like young students going for an examination. You be promoted from one
Mm.
to the other. You have to go for an examination, and if you don't pass that exam, you can't go to the next level. You need an amount of stress to be able to, push yourself to read, to be able to really, get to that goal. Because if you're complacent, if you are just relaxed about it, you might not be able to apply yourself, and you might not be able to pass exam well. So if I may use that word, there's still like positive stress that will lead to a good outcome. But then we have other kinds of stress that, like this pandemic, we have little control over it. It's stressful, the news and all of that. And like we just mentioned, even the treatment of it, or the prevention of it, which is the vaccine, is also causing a layer of stress, you know. So stress can be positive, it can be negative. But in terms of even the negative stress, lots depends on how we handle it. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But I always like to see stress like a bag of stones or bag of rocks, in there are things you can control and some of them you can't control. I mean, God forbid, if somebody loses a loved one, it causes a considerable amount of stress. The person is dead, there's very
Mm.
little.
Right.
In fact, I can't even say there's nothing most likely you can really do about bringing that person back. But how to cope with the stress afterwards? There's some other things that are stressful. People are having marital problems or they're having relationship issues with people. It's stressful, but it can be modified. You can deal with it. You can decide to talk about things, get professional help, counseling. So there are different types it depends on the kind of stress. I think the first thing is to decide, is this something I can change or have control over? Or is this something that I have no control over? That way it's easier to say, okay, how do I manage this thing? If it's something that you can change, it's just like uh, being able to accept those things that you can't change. And you got the wisdom to be able to know the difference between the things you can change and things you can't change. So stress can be positive and it can be negative, but even with the negative stress, it's how we deal with it that matters. You know, I think that's the way I would start by, this stress.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now that, okay, so I hear you, but I'm going through these emotions, right?
Okay.
Everyone says we're in the pandemic and it's normal. It's normal to be stressed. It's normal to be this. But when do I know I've gotten to a tipping point and I need to seek medical help? When do I know that this is just not normal anymore? What are the signs to look out for in myself and or people around, or for us to look at in other people as well? So just in case we have somebody going loony, how do we know and not think that it's just a pandemic? What are the signs that we need to look out for that when someone is stressed and they need medical attention?
Attention. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of things can go wrong, even though we're all kind of in this common uh, global issue, like I may, describe it, and there's normal reaction. Like I use the example of the event. Somebody passes away, you're going to cry, you're going to be sad. Nobody should deny you that opportunity to mourn something or to be worried about something. But when it becomes over, it becomes over the top, like even after months and months, the person still sleep, they're still hearing the voice of the person that passed away, they can't function, they can't do things, then you know that there's a problem. So even with COVID and all that's related, I know some people, I mean, they coined the term COVID anxiety, that people are worried about COVID and all of that. But when it becomes pathological, when you can't think about anything else, you're so worried, it's limiting you. I've seen patients that they can't even leave their, even though they know that, oh, if I wear a mask or if I maintain social distance, I'm fine. Some of them can't even leave their house. They're housebound. They're so afraid, as if the moment they step their feet outside, they're going to, catch COVID. That's really extreme, and a position that you can't function because about. And I mean, it's understandable. Maybe some people have lost their jobs, they've lost income, they've even lost loved ones,
Yeah, chopping again.
Can you hear me now?
We're losing you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you now.
You can hear me, yeah. So, I mean, some people may have even lost loved ones to COVID. So their fear is valid. Some people may have lost their jobs, they have lost their businesses. So, they have reasons to be anxious, have reasons to be worried. Of course, when it becomes a point, in general, whereby you can't function, you can't, do the things you need to do, you're depressed, you can't sleep, you're lying awake, you're crying, you're sad, you can't eat, you can't sleep, you're finding getting out of bed, then you know that there's a problem and you need to really, you need to seek help. If you cannot get it out of your mind and distract yourself to do other things, then I think at that point the person needs help.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so you've answered that question about us personally. So now that I'm in a home, I'm in a household, and everybody's functioning well.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody's functioning well, but somebody is going through depression. There was a case some months ago, which we spoke about, that said there was a little 13-year-old boy. He was okay. Everything was all right with his dad, with his family, everything happy and nice.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard about that case in Texas. And the guy, they were doing a family function of trying to build something together at home. And nobody knew the boy was depressed or was going through anything. 30 minutes after he excused himself, 30 minutes after they hadn't seen him, the sister went to look for him and they found that he had committed suicide. How do you identify such suicidal things? They don't talk. And it's a problem, especially where we are in this part of the world, in Nigeria, talking about mental, or even the word you think mental, men. Before you finish the mental, they are running and they're thinking, no, God forbid, God forbid. But these things are happening.
Yeah.
And we have lost it, But people within the household haven't recognized that these people are going down a sleepy road. What are the telltale signs we're looking out for so we can help our loved ones?
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, so unfortunate when you have that story of a young boy and that's happening, or that happened. I'm sure, I don't want to be absolute. It's possible that there may have been some, signs, like you're saying, like maybe the boy, maybe he was a very happy boy and all of a sudden he's withdrawn, not talking to, to his parents as before, keeping to himself. That's why as family or a community, we need to look out for each other. We need to check in once in a while with your children, your friends, your family, and is everything okay? I've not heard from you in a while. Or you notice in the house that the child is just not eating as well as they should. So maybe the common signs of depression. When about depression is just being unhappy. It's being clinically depressed, in the sense that the person is very sad, sometimes crying, not well, or sometimes they can even oversleep. In the young, sleeping, like really sleeping for 14 hours, and sometimes as they should, they're just, and then sometimes they're just eating a lot to kind of what into, and dated. You find them in bed, they're not work, not doing what they enjoy. You just find that this child is just kind of drifting out into their own shell. The other, and sometimes they're not always tired, and then they feel very negative. Start talking, they feel very about them, about other people. They feel less, they feel they are, hopeless, of extreme. Then they feel they just, and then some people start talking.
Yeah, we're losing you. We're losing you again.
Oh wow. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. So I think people will agree with me if you say, let's start from when you said about when they overeat.
Okay.
When people overeat.
Yes. So sometimes, like breasts, they can tend to overeat. They're comfort eating. They just feel that when I eat, you know, and then they lose interest in things.
Mm-hmm. Is it just me? Can everybody hear? Sorry, can everybody hear Dr. Tola clearly? If you can, please, can you just do a thumbs up or say I can hear? Because I'm not hearing her clearly, and I want you guys to hear her clearly. Hello. So I guess everybody can hear you clearly. Maybe it's just me, maybe my network in Nigeria. So I guess we'll continue.
Okay.
Okay, sound is fading in and out. Yeah, that's what I'm getting as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
I can't hear clearly.
oh wow. Okay. I'm not really sure what to do now because I'm trying.
So wherever you're standing right now, I can hear you clearly. So maybe I'm sorry, you might just have to stand like that for the next 30 minutes. You know?
Okay. And I had my phone on the back of the office, so now I've taken it off the surface. Maybe that was blocking the
Okay, and maybe that was bouncing the sound as well.
maybe. Okay, I hope you now. Is this still fading? Duntan, is this
Yes, yeah, so comments are like fading in and out.
okay? What about now? Now, am I fading in and out?
Now it's clear.
It's clear. Okay, so I'll go on. So I was talking about the signs of depression, like not eating well or overeating, not sleeping enough or sleeping excessively, or even that you normally enjoy, you're not enjoying them anymore, or
Louder now and try not to move. I'm sorry it's distracted for you, but this is what we want them to hear.
Okay, so just not enjoying themselves as before. They're not as motivated. They're not. They're very tired all the time. They just feel life is just not worth living, and they feel hopeless. They feel helpless. They're just very negative about things in general. And then of course the extreme is that they become suicidal. They want to kill themselves. That's where we don't want to. So going back to this maybe child, I'm sure it's possible that that child have been showing some signs of depression, that they were withdrawn or they're overly anxious and worried about things. So those are the things to watch out for, when we live with people, when we have loved ones in our lives, that we look out for, and just support them, especially when you know that they've maybe gone through something that has really been a significant incident. Like I said, they've lost someone, or maybe their business, they've had to close their business, or even for children. I don't know about what's going on now in Ontario, Canada. From Monday, the kids are going to be at home again. It's going to be like the third or fourth time they're going to be homeschooling. That's stressful. The fact that the kids will not be able to see their friends anymore, like before, except they're online. They can't play at school and things like that. So that would definitely be a stressful time for children.
Mm-hmm.
And as a parent, you have to watch out for that and on them, once in a while.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we've spoken. Now let's take it now to businesses. A lot of businesses, I don't know what's happening in Ontario, but I can say a bit about Nigeria in UK, and especially in the event field, which is another field I'm part of as well. The obstetrics area in at large, they were the first hit with the pandemic, with people shutting down, no work. And even though governments are easing the lockdown, they are still not open fully, which means they've lost money, they're not making money. And how do you cope? What do you do? Not knowing what to do, what next? As that person, what do you say? So let's just say someone like me now. Say I'm not working, I have no other livelihood, I'm the breadwinner. But at the same time, I'm aware that the pandemic is on, but I'm losing it. What do I do? I know people, there's a need facing self-love. Yes, I'm self-loving myself, but it is not putting food on the table. And
Well,
I'm losing it up here.
I know.
What do you suggest I do as an individual to make sure that I'm grounded? And
Yeah.
I'm not Yaba Aposi.
Well, yeah. So I mean, it's the first thing definitely to acknowledge that this is a tough situation. I mean, it's not fair to say, "Oh, don't worry, be fine. Why are you worried? You should be." It's not fair for you to kind of on the person to say to kind of shrug it off. It is a difficult position that anybody in that position would feel very upset and sad, and the future would look bleak on the surface. Feel that, wow, where am I going to start from? So as someone who is supporting that person, you need to acknowledge their fears and their position, and then also to encourage that maybe this is time to get creative. I know that some people will say that in the pandemic they made millions or something. I don't hear all sorts of stories. It might sound like, okay, well, maybe just a few people, but then it's an opportunity also to kind of recalibrate on on career, on goals, okay, within the limitations. In fact, is that what is the way out? Using the example of an event planner, a lot of people are doing online birthday parties. Do you want to divert it to something? So you just try to encourage them to give up, because there might just be other avenues that they can explore given the constraints that they have now. And like you mentioned, it's a time to kind of work. There might even be other things that might even be that person's current like business or whatever that they might just not even have been open if the pandemic did not happen. And now they can be to look at it and explore, maybe partner with other people, look at change of, even if it's just a temporary change of likeness. What I'm just trying to say is that it's an opportunity to be open, an opportunity to kind of see, okay, what next? Not possible. The government has closed it down. There's, like I said, this is that's something you have no control over. But as much as possible to look into other opportunities. I know that with Nigeria, I'm sure about social system here, there was a lot of support for small businesses to get like or loan or things like that. But definitely, I mean, I'm not sure how that translates to the Nigerian economy. That might not be relevant. But what I'm just trying to say, it might just be a time to look in another direction, see what other opportunities might open up at that particular time.
Okay, so in a nutshell, what I'm hearing is hold the situation by the horns and turn it around for your good.
Yes, to a large extent, and not be and be open. That don't say, oh, this is the only thing I'm trained for, and that's the only thing I can do, and now then the world is over. No, I don't think that that would be a positive way of seeing that situation. But it might take you out of your comfort zone, definitely, venture into something different. But it might just be another way of opening. Sometimes there's some people that would go down another route, and even when the pandemic is over, that's what they're even enjoying, and they're not go back to their former, businesses anymore. There's not that, oh, I didn't even know that I could enjoy this thing more than what I was doing before. So I think a level of optimism is very important when we are in this kind of situation, and not feel like all hope is lost and nothing is going to come out of the situation. I think to make a headway when things look very bleak, you definitely need a level of optimism, be able to, look beyond negative experiences in the present.
Okay, so basically, don't go into depression. Don't have a pity party. Look out for the opportunities. Seize the moment and move.
And move, yeah. And don't fine, you might mourn the loss of the business for a day or two or a week, but after that, just your clothes and say, okay, what, I think that's the spirit that will help, rather than, just being sad, depressed, as much as it lies within our power. And of course, if you find that, okay, well, I'm trying my best, I'm trying to be optimistic, but I'm just, just not, I'm still depressed, really depressed, a problem, then you have to seek help. Because, like I mentioned, something like mental disorder, like depression, anxiety, they are medical illnesses. They have biological. When people are depressed, there's chemical imbalance in the brain. Neurotransmitters, serotonin, norepinephrine, they're low. That's why we take medications to increase those levels. So there's something biological going on. So if it's really out of proportion, like this, I've tried my best, but I'm still very, very depressed, then seek help, seek medical help at that time. You might just even need some form of therapies, to have some counseling sessions, and if it's really, really severe, the doctor might prescribe medications to help you during that situation,
So we shouldn't be afraid of seeking help, really.
At all. No, at all. And one good thing I would say with the COVID situation is that it made the world a very global village, in the sense that there's a lot going on online. That you find that I don't really have resources in my area. So there might be telehealth that you can access. You can sign up for and say, listen, I want to do some sessions. I want to see a psychiatrist. And even here, like, because of the pandemic, because of lockdown, a lot of doctors are not seeing patients face to face. We're all many people in virtual care, consult with patients and to give recommendations. So you might be in Nigeria and thinking up with a doctor in Saudi Arabia, London or something, and it makes no difference now, unlike before. So there is a lot of help available, and definitely in Nigeria, there's a lot of resources, mental health resources that can also be accessed locally. So, I mean, there's a lot of help available.
Okay. So another thing again, I mean, now we've spoken about business owners. Now let's speak about people that have been employed. How do you approach knowing that, okay, I have all the signs, knowing that I'm burnt out and I need a break? How do I approach my employer, saying that I need to take time off, or I need to seek professional help to take time off, and that would not have a knock-on effect on me coming back to work? Would they not think, oh, this person that's gone cuckoo is back again, better not let her in?
Yeah. So there is a place of confidentiality that that should apply even in the work environment. I don't think you really need to start going into details, or I have depression, I'm psychotic, that's why I want to take time off. Because let's face it, there's still a lot of people are still small. There's still a lot of stigma with mental health, unfortunately, everywhere. So getting a medical leave is a medical leave. Take some time off work and to take a medical leave. Here, the first point of contact, and I believe also in Nigeria, family physician or your family doctor, and they would see you. If you need a note for work, they would write on that, oh, this needs to go off work for a week, a 2-week period. You don't need to write why you're going off work.
Okay.
So you need to, I mean, the workplace, you want to keep your business confidential. They're going to be treating you at work, so they don't need to know the details about what's going on with you, so that you don't want anyone using your information in future. So I think that you are entitled to have your own confidentiality, and your doctor or your primary health physician should be able to support you with maybe a note or a letter to say, oh, this person needs time off work for so amount of period, and they to write your off work, so your privacy is maintained in there. So I don't think there should be a worry that you have to take time off work. If you need to take time off work, better you do that rather than stay at work and you're making mistakes, or you now have a big crisis at work and you're kind of worse off. And then of course, if you find that you're taking off work every 2 weeks, you're off, and maybe you need to reevaluate whether you're really able to function at that level of work at this period. You might just need to take an extended period off to attend to your affairs, get everything in order before you come back again.
Okay, cool. All right. So, I mean, we've said all the symptoms, we've spoken about all the symptoms. One thing I wanted to talk about as well. Is it the employer's responsibility to, even when to know, to say, for example, someone is in my employment and I know, I've seen the signs that this person is depressed. Is it okay for the employer to say to the employee, I think you need to seek help? Or is that crossing the line?
I mean, if it's interfering with that person's work productivity, I would say yes, the employer should look out for their staff. If it's a well-established employment, if you're working at maybe Cadbury or something, or Coca-Cola, somewhere big, I don't know, maybe at the bank, I'm sure they would have like a occupational health department where you can go see someone, at work. I know that there's some insurance companies that partner with employments, jobs and all of that, and then they have hospitals, through maybe Hygeia and all of the places in Lagos, at least I'm familiar with, and you can just go see the doctor or the person that is attached to that place. You can recommend that, your employee goes to the clinic and say, listen, I think you need to take some time off work. I think you need to see the doctor because of so that happened. Like, you see somebody come to work and he or she's always crying. Every time they come, they're always crying. Or something that is so dramatic that you can't ignore. As an employer, yes, your care or responsibility to that staff to point them in the right direction, because they may know that they need to take some time, maybe because they're afraid that they don't want to do their job, and then they just keep dragging themselves to work, even though they can't function. So yes, definitely as an employer, if you see that there's something going wrong, I think the employer is stepping their bounds. Of course, they won't be judgmental. They won't be punitive and say, listen, leave this job. We don't want you back. That's really bad. But of course, if you want the person to get help and you point them in the right direction, I think it's in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we've gotten all that out, now what do we need to do at this point in time? Well, we don't have a balanced scale yet. What should I be doing to safeguard my mental health?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to eat well? Do I need to sleep? Do I need to exercise? Just give us some tips on what to do.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, in general, definitely, like I said, it's kind of physical health, emotional, social well-being, mental health. That's the total package of what health can be. So, I mean, even if you take like the physical health, like, some people already have physical health issues they're dealing with. Of course, take good care of yourself. Take your medication.
We're losing you again. We can't hear you, Dr. Tola. We lost you for a bit.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you
yeah,
now. But
so I mean, for a bit, yeah. So I was saying that for people that already have physical health issues, try and take good care of whatever the condition is. Take your medication, go for your checkup, make sure everything is, well rounded, because even for people that have COVID, for example, even people that are COVID positive, when you have underlying medical issues, unfortunately, you're at a higher risk. Okay, so you can hear now. Okay, you're at a higher risk of going down with the illness. So you need to take good care of your physical health. And that also includes regular exercise, good diet as much as possible. Was trying to come in. So good health, regular exercise, adequate sleep hygiene. Try as much as possible to get at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep, no matter how busy your work is. And I know that when people are working from home, it also kind of throws off your schedule sometimes. So try and have a good health, sleep hygiene. Try as much as possible to also maintain a good social well-being. fine, you might not be able to go to parties or go visiting people as we used to before, but you can, maintain contact with people, your loved ones. There's text, there's WhatsApp. As much as possible, try not to be isolated, so that you don't find yourself even wallowing more in depression and loneliness and things like that. So as much as possible, try to kind of, socially, make sure that you're not isolated. And that's why I prefer the term physical distance to social distancing, because social distancing, it kind of gives you an impression that, oh, just live in your own cave and shut the whole world out. No, that's not what they're saying. Just physically distance yourself 6 meters apart from people, but still you can talk to people, you can Zoom, you can FaceTime, whatever. Anyway, and then of course, when it comes to our core mental health, there's some people that have been diagnosed with mental illness already. Some people are already battling depression. Some people are already, they have anxiety, or they have psychosis, or they have loved ones that are dealing with these illnesses. It's very important that you get help. You stick to your treatment, whatever it has been already prescribed for you. You take your medications, you're in touch with your therapist, or whatever the condition entails, as much as possible. And then of course, for people that have not been diagnosed with anything, but you still want to safeguard yourself, as much as possible, you keep a healthy lifestyle, in the sense that even with the news that we hear with all this COVID thing, try as much as possible to get positive news from recognized websites like WHO, CDC, and all of that. Try not to just everything they forward to you on WhatsApp, you're opening, you're getting scared all the time. That kind of plays on your mind. So try as much as possible to focus on only the positive news. And of course, we know that it's a pandemic, so it's not like we're pretending that nothing is going on, but we just want to be sure that we're not getting negative news that is going to throw us off, And of course, like I said, regular sleep, exercise as well. It helps the endorphins. It helps also feel better and more refreshed. Sometimes people use a lot of self-help books as well. So if, for example, if you find that you're feeling low already, but you feel that, okay, this is not depression, but I'm not just kind of as optimal as I used to be. There's some self-help books online. There's one called Mind Over Mood. It's by Christine Padesky, and it's like a self-help manual where you can, do exercises and also recognize what your coping strategies are, because some people, like when you're stressed, you need to know yourself as a person. What are the things that help you to feel lighter? Like I always say to people, sometimes it might just be watching comedies. Sometimes once you watch a comedy and you're happy, you instead of you just sitting down and moping, try and know what works well for you. You could also just be listening to music. It could be journaling, like you just journal your thoughts and, okay, what are the goals I have for the month of May? May is not here yet, but you just want to plan ahead. Okay, what am I going to do in May? And what are the things I want to achieve? What are the things I want our family to, you try and journal, and then you go back to your journal once in a while. It also helps you to be focused, and you're not just living from one day to the other, So like I'll just say in summary, like I said, to be able to guard yourself, look at your physical health, make sure that you're taking care of your physical health in terms of your body, whatever pre-existing conditions you have, you're following your recommendations. Socially, you're engaged with people, you're keeping in touch with people. You're not just, and when I say people, I mean people that will influence you positively, not the friend that will be always talking negatively and saying, oh, people are dying and all of that. But at least you're maintaining contact with people that really would, would be positive influence on you. And then, of course, in terms of your own mental health as well, you're taking care of it by, doing those things that would, enhance you. And of course, if you find that that you really need help, then please seek help. Nobody should feel isolated in this day and age where we have a lot of resources online, a lot of resources even locally as well. Try and seek help, try and reach out for what you need.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, I hear the bit of try to seek help, try to seek help, try to seek help. And it's easier said than done when you're abroad. For you abroad, it's easier. Here in Nigeria, I mean, imagine someone seeing me driving to Yaba left. That's it. It's everywhere. She's mad.
You might be going to deliver something. Doesn't have to. You don't have to be a patient to go in there.
But who wants to find out if you're a patient going there or not?
Oh God.
But I mean, I hear you, and and one of the things we're going to do afterwards is that we're going to put up a few contacts where you can seek help. It's very important we seek help. Let's not shy away from it. Dr. Tola has said a lot today, and we need to take responsibility of our own mental health as well. We know we need to. There's a word going around now that seems to be the new phase: self-love. Self-love is looking after yourself. It's not being selfish. It's not being self-love. Doesn't mean that you're self-centered. It means you're looking after yourself so that you can give the best to the next person. You can be the best version of yourself and be able to dish out the best to the next person. Dr. Tola, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We like to keep this within an hour. Okay. And is there anything else that you wish to share with us? And anybody has any questions they want to ask before we sign off?
So the only thing I wanted to mention is that, like I said, we're in the age of digital media as well, social media. There are some apps you can download on your phone. There's one that comes to mind. It's called Headspace. That's HEADSPACE. There's a lot of resources you can get through Headspace. There's one that might be faith-based. It's called Abide. There's another called Letiso 365. There's so many apps you can download on your phone that can help you with monitoring your mood. It can help you with even having a good daily routine, and also give you resources. Like if you're anxious, what are the things you can do? Relaxation techniques, breathing exercises that you can do when you're anxious. And of course, if things get more serious, like people are psychotic, when I mean psychotic, like schizophrenia and things like that, resources that you can get and help that you can get. So getting apps on your phone can also be very handy.
Thank you very much. I think you've really wowed everybody because there are no questions.
So no questions. Oh, wow. I hope I communicated well. There should be one or two questions. Oh, my God.
So, guys, ask the questions. Oh, yeah, just ask the question. Someone just asked the question. Says, okay. I think I need to wear my glasses here now. So it says, my husband was in an accident in 2019 and just recently developed seizure. Should I be worried? Also, he now regrets with speech and behaving aggressively. What do you advise me? So, Dr. Tola, is this your area that can cover?
Well, maybe not entirely. It looks like there's a neurological condition going on. It's possible that maybe when he had the accident, unfortunately, may have had a head injury. Although this is like 2 years after, so I'm sorry that this is happening to you, Skin Sense, but your husband definitely needs urgent attention. He would most likely need to have a CT scan of the head, just to be sure that there's nothing going on. It might not even be related to the accident, and it might be, so the doctor would need to rule out a lot of things. It could be tumors or things, especially when you're saying that he's regressed with his speech, he's behaving aggressively. Yes, he does need help as soon as possible. So I would definitely advise you to get your husband checked, and if possible, to see a neurologist. That's neurologist. So the neurologists, they are the ones that deal with conditions of the brain, because when the speech is affected, that the speech center is in the brain. And when you say that he's also having a seizure, that's also controlled by the brain. So definitely a neurologist will be one person that your husband needs to see, so that they can assess him properly and determine what's really going on at this time.
Okay, so Skin Sense, I'm not sure if you're in Nigeria or wherever you are, but if you're in Nigeria, I know they have an outpatient neurological clinic at Iraqare and I'm not plugging anybody, in VI, and I think Evercare that just opened up in Lekki too has one. I'm sure the government too in Luth as well definitely should have a neurological department as well.
Yes, definitely.
And I'm sorry your husband is has this, but we pray that it gets well.
Amen. Yeah.
Any other question before we round up this particular session? Cool. So thank you everyone for coming out this evening. I hope you've taken something away. Dr. Tola, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know you have 4 children to look after and you must be really eager to get off this. But they've been quite good because, oh yes, Skin Essence has another question. Please go ahead.
Thank you.
Skin Essence, please go ahead before we shut down. Okay, I think we'll give Skin Essence a few minutes and then we'll wrap it up. So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have another session. We look forward to seeing you. Look out for the details on our IG page, refreshed_healthy_living. And DM us if there's anything particular you wish for us to talk about. Oh, you're typing. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll wait for you. If there's anything you want us to talk about or anybody you want us to bring on board, and please DM us at refreshed_healthy_living, and we would have a series like this. But in the meantime, please stay safe. The fact that you have a vaccine doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. So please mask up, social distancing, look after yourself. It's so important. You're the only person that can look after yourself. Nothing anyone says matters, but you matters, and what you do to yourself determines what you get. I mean, you can't rule out getting COVID because we don't even know where it comes from, but you can at least try to protect yourself. Skin Essence, we're waiting for you before we wrap up. Dr. Tola, anything else you want to say, you want to share? Whilst we wait for Skin Essence.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, some hospitals, I know that there are a lot of private mental health clinics as well now. So it's not just Yaba left, like you called it. So I'm not sure their names, but definitely there are a lot of mental health clinics now that with psychiatrists that have, set them up that people can also access if you feel that you don't want to go to the tertiary hospitals like Yaba or Arrow or all those places.
Does Arrow still exist?
I'm sure it does.
I haven't had that name in years.
Yes, I'm sure it does. So yeah, they're amazing places. Yaba, the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital Yaba, is an amazing hospital. It's a beautiful, lovely place. Unfortunately, the stigma, shrouds everything, but there's a lot of good things going on there.
Okay, Dr. Mowat is agreeing with you. We have Dr. Moore here. Dr. Moore, you're going to come on this platform pretty soon, so start getting yourself ready. I'm coming after you. So Skin Essence says, I find myself having panic attacks, and I have had palpitations so much so it leaves me breathless. Is there a reason for this, please? I have been in a very bad headspace the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean that explains a lot, and from what you also shared with us earlier, if you have, I mean, if your husband has gone through a lot of health challenges in the last, like in the last 2 years, that will put a lot of strain on you because you feel stress, you feel, you know, a lot of uncertainty, what's going to happen to him, and it's possible that there are other things you're also dealing with, you know. So if you're having recurrent panic attacks, definitely the symptoms that you describe, like the palpitations, breathlessness, they are part of symptoms of panic attacks. Sometimes people even have link is why I'm yeah. So I mean the other symptoms, like you feel very sweaty, you feel you have like your abdominal discomfort, and you're just very anxious, you know. So definitely a panic disorder is a recognized mental disorder. It needs to be treated. I'm not sure why your doctor is telling you not to worry, because that's not going to take away or treat the illness that you have. So you need to have an assessment. Since it sounds like you've seen a family doctor or a general doctor practitioner, you might need to see a psychiatrist. So like I said, there are mental health clinics. Unfortunately, I don't have the names, and maybe Duntan can help us post some names afterwards of clinics that you can access, but maybe you need to tell us where exactly you are. I mean, what part of the world you are. It might be easier that way. But if you're having recurrent panic attacks, it can be very, very debilitating. It can be very, very uncomfortable. You might not be able to function the way you normally would. So definitely you would need to be treated. Sometimes we use what we call cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's a particular type of therapy that can help with treating anxiety or panic attacks. But many times for a lot of people, they still need medications. And one of the medications that we use to treat panic attacks are antidepressants. So the doctor might need to prescribe antidepressants for you. Sometimes they prescribe benzodiazepines like lorazepam, but those are just like for a short period. They don't really treat panic attacks, and people can get addicted to them, you know. So you really need to have a psychiatrist or a doctor who is skilled in mental health assess you, take a good history, and see what's really going on, you know, because sometimes some medical disorders like thyroid disease, like when people are hyperthyroid, they might also have panic attacks. So the doctor would do some blood tests to be sure that there's nothing else going on as well. So it's very difficult to make recommendations over the internet because I haven't seen you, I haven't taken a full history. So, you know, just putting out a disclaimer that it's better that you see a doctor who will take a good history. Sometimes that can take an hour to just get to the bottom of what's going on, and then they can prescribe medication. They can follow you up and see how you're doing, if you're having side effects, if it's working, not working, you know.
So I hope this has helped Skin Essence.
Yeah, so Skin Essence is a psychiatrist. It sounds like she saw a general doctor who's told her not to worry, but it's still going on. So she really needs to, you know, have this addressed. And I agree that it needs to, you know, I understand why she's still worried that it's not gone away yet.
Okay. So we wish you all the very best, Skin Essence, and we join our faith with yours that indeed everything will be well pretty soon, both for you and for your husband.
Yeah.
Thank you. And please, please, please do not, as Dr. Tola said, we are not prescribing anything. So there's the disclaimer out there. Don't say you came on Refresh series and you got your things sorted out. Please seek medical help. It seems as though you need to speak to a psychiatrist and your husband needs to see a neurologist. Please, please, please do seek help. Someone just said, Dr. Tola, are people in Nigeria able to contact you for virtual consultation?
So the thing is, like, don't mention more of acute psychiatry in the sense that I see patients that are in hospital that are on admission. Really, I don't do a lot of outpatient work, so unfortunately, I don't do virtual care per se. But if anyone needs to be admitted So, I would be happy to to look over. But then, of course, if you're in Nigeria, that would be hard.
So the Ebony, there are people that do virtual telemedicine, as it's called, globally as well. So if you want, so what we're going to do is that I'm going to speak to a few of my classmates and who do telemedicine, and they're psychiatrists. So if you maybe give us a few days where we gather this together, say maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll put everything together and it will be on our page. And as you said, you'd go and see them on your own. We're not recommending them to be the best. We're just showing you pointers. So we're just going to put the names of the organization and how to get hold of them. But the responsibility still lies with you.
Yeah.
Okay, at this point, we'll have to wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time with another topic. Before then, if there's anything pressing you think you want us to talk about, please send us a DM and we'll address it. We'll put it in our schedule and then we'll address it. Thank you once again, Dr. Tola. Thank you very much. Thanks. And everybody, have a good evening and keep safe.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you.